Welcome to Creator Toolbox, a show brought to you by the ServiceNow Developer Program, where we demo new ServiceNow features for every developer's toolbox. My name is Laszlo Balla, Senior Developer Advocate, and I'm here today with some amazing guests.
Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Hohenstein. I'm an outbound product manager for the Now platform. My main focus areas is workflow automation, so I cover everything from decision tables through flows and also playbooks, which we will talk about today. I've been with ServiceNow for almost 7 years now, and I'm really glad to be here with you today. Sai, over to you.
Hi everyone. I'm Sai Mandava, and I'm inbound PM for workflow automation. And my main focus area is playbooks. And I've been working on AI and non-AI features. And we are very happy to roll out Agentic Playbooks in September release. And Lisa and I will be talking about this feature a lot today. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. In this video, we're talking about agentic playbooks, as you said. So I'll go ahead and ask Lisa to jump right in.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Before we head into things, just in case we mention any forward-looking stuff, you know the drill. We might mention planned features or upcoming features. Don't make any purchasing decisions based on anything we say today. And with that, just as a quick reminder of what we are working on, workflow automation is the heart of the ServiceNow AI platform, and it is driving automation and processes for your enterprise. A lot of components go into workflow automation, and we will focus on one part in particular. But just to give you the whole picture, I want to quickly recap what's part of it. Inside of Workflow Studio, our one-stop studio to create everything workflow, you can build flows and subflows, flow actions, integrations, but also playbooks. And this is an important key point to our workflow data fabric framework. Today, I'm gonna highlight the process automation part. So we'll talk about playbooks and playbook experience. Playbooks are an added layer to your workflow engine. All activities within a playbook run on a subflow or flow action and allows you to add an experience layer, a process-aware UX to improve the end user productivity, ensure response consistency, and also reduce errors while following a task lifecycle. So in this framework for playbooks, we will today talk about a generative AI feature, allowing you to embed AI workflows and AI tools into your playbooks at to be run during playbook execution. So agentic playbooks is a feature with the added layer of AI agents on top of your deterministic workflows. This closes the loop between the need of having reliable outcomes for your workflows, but also adding the potential of AI agents as your user assistant. This can accelerate playbook execution and increase your agent productivity by leveraging AI agents. These agents will be able to help the user in filling forms intelligently by fetching data from various sources. The end result will then be increased user productivity while you're still following all the guardrails of your enterprise workflows. This feature is new in the September release, and it requires Zurich. We'll get to some more prerequisites later in this presentation, but I want to give you some highlight features and capabilities that are included. This feature provides our customers with the granular control over where and when you want to proactively engage AI agents in a running playbook. With this feature, the AI agents will be able to, for example, gather data from sources like AI search, knowledge graph, or web search. They can also process data such as mathematical calculations or text processing such as summarization. And then we can also slot fill any processed data into the available forms. While AI agents do their work, the human agent will be able to interact with the AI agents through the side panel, and we'll see that in the demo later. So before we go into more specifics and the demo, of course, we want to highlight some use cases where agentic playbooks are better suited to solve your needs. They generally work on the same rules and processes like playbooks, but they add your AI layer. You will have the same predictable outcomes, but have the addition of AI to fast track tasks that AI is really good at. Let's look at a couple of examples where agentic playbooks are a good fit for our customers. Any process step where a human agent has to look at a long KV article and map it to an incident or a case or any other task. This might take a long time for a human, whereas an AI agent can be able to do all of this and all of the required data gathering and processing in just a few seconds, and then provide it to the human for review. One of our examples is a KV article to approve a laptop provisioning request, or summarizing a case with all the available information, comparing it to past cases, and triage potential problem and solutions. And with this, I'll hand it over to Sai to walk through the requirements and setup needed to work with AI agents in your playbooks. Over to you, Sai.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that quick overview, Lisa. And here on the left-hand side of the slide, we have the applications that you require for Agentic Playbooks to be available. It's available in Zurich, so please upgrade your instance and install Workflow Studio and Playbook Experience and Pad. And in terms of licensing, if you have any of the BU Pro Plus licenses, Agentic Playbooks will be available. And since it's an MVP that we released in September, it's a more controlled release, and we are supporting these 6 activities out, which are out of the box ones. And from December, we are going to remove that restriction. And if you have any custom activities, or if you're working with any of the other application we use from ServiceNow, and you're using those custom activities, all of those will be available. And the only restriction is that they have to be form based, and agents will be able to follow your instructions and fill those forms. And in terms of the roles that are required for authoring side, there is no change. If you are able to author playbooks right now, you'll be able to update AI agents or add AI agents behind those playbooks as well. But for runtime users, just to make sure that it's more secure, there are granular roles added for each agent and workflow. So please add these 2 roles for anyone who you expect your playbook, your users to use those playbooks which have AI agents.
Quick question before you move on. So this will restrict the access to the whole playbook, or will they just not have access to the agent helping to fill out the form? Can they still fill out the form manually if they don't have this role?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the only restriction is to use AI agents, but just to get access to the playbook, as long as they have access to the playbook and the record, they should be able to use it just the way it was before.
Excellent, thank you.
Now we'll go into the demo and talk about the capabilities and how you can add AI agents behind the playbooks, and see how these agents will work in runtime experience. So let's talk about capabilities of AI agents inside playbooks. So Lisa touched upon this a little bit, but let me go a little bit into detail and talk about those. So when we say agentic playbooks, here what we're talking about is playbook activities which are powered by agentic workflows behind every activity. And for this to work, we shipped one agentic workflow which have multiple agents and tools. And these agents and tools will be able to do a few things. One, they'll be able to go into the context record, such as a case or incident, and look into the information that's already available and use that when they're trying to process the form. And second, if there are documents or attachments inside those context records, agents will be able to look into those and use that information to follow the process. The next is AI search. If you have past incidents or cases where certain information has to be searched, or anything else through AI search in your instance, agents will be able to do that. And if you want to query something in your instance through knowledge graph, and use a natural language query. That's absolutely possible. And let's say you also have a lot of information that need to be used in your processes in KB articles. Absolutely, that's possible. And the last thing is web search. If you want to do any Google search or Bing search and get the context from outside ServiceNow and use that as an input in your process, absolutely possible. And that's about the capabilities. Now let's jump into the playbook itself. So here for the demo, I'm having one existing playbook called contract renewal and upsell workflow. And as a process author, I'm trying to create or manage this workflow. And in this workflow, I have a couple of stages, which one is for contract renewal and other is for upsell. And let me show one specific activity. So before Agentic Playbooks, we had three tabs: details, UI layout, and questionnaire, since it's a questionnaire activity. If it's other types of activities which have UI, you'll be seeing details, UI layout, and automation. And now we had added this fourth tab called AI agents. And when you come here for the first time, I've already added AI agents. But if not, you would be seeing something like this. And you can click on this toggle button, and you'll be able to enable AI agents. And here you have to give a couple of inputs. One is impersonating user. Um, you have to remember that AI agents in ServiceNow, they impersonate a human user. And we gave a couple of options. One, you can let the AI agent impersonate the user who is triggering that playbook, or you can pill pick and select a specific user. In this case, I've selected contract administrator, but at the same time, you can select someone like an assigned to user for a particular activity, and that user will be able to see AI agents. And for security reasons, we are not when AI agents run behind that activity, we are showing the AI agents information, whatever they fetch, and fill the forms only to that user. But once the user looks at that information, verifies that it's all good, and save it to the record, then that information will be available to all the other users. And that's about impersonating. And the next thing that you have to fill in is instructions for those AI agents. So those the AI agents which have different capabilities that I spoke about, they already have prompts which will be able to do a lot of things. But these are your specific instructions for this activity inside this workflow. And we have some best practices that you can follow, and we provided them in our documentation for Agentic Playbooks. But just to touch upon the key points, so what we are expecting in instructions are natural language instructions that AI agent orchestrator will be able to follow. And what it expects is a step-by-step instruction. If you want to do like 10 things, just put them in a bulleted list, and agents will be able to follow them. Second, if you want to fetch data from a specific table and field, mention those fields, and agents will have easy time in getting those fields. And if you want to go and uh, uh, go through some search or knowledge graph, then use terms like query, and AI agents will be able to do that better. And last but not the least, if you want to get better results, then uh, after putting the initial instructions, test and revise those instructions based on the results that you are getting. That's mostly about authoring experience. And here, for example, in this case, this in this activity, I want to specify the discount that's to be provided for a customer. So, and I already have the best practices for discounts in knowledge article. And I know which fields have to be used from the record to take as input and follow the process or follow the best practice in knowledge article. But those knowledge articles could keep changing, and there could be multiple knowledge articles which contain this information. So that's why I'm not giving a specific knowledge article, but I'm just saying that, hey, find the relevant knowledge article and figure it out, and use these input fields when you try to find that, when you're trying to calculate the discount. um, yeah, so that's about it. So you toggle this activate AI agents, and you select the impersonated user, put in the instructions, and save and close it, and you're good to go.
Sai, this is great. Just let me jump in with a couple of questions on what you've showed us for purpose of our audience as well. Um, so first up, you said we can choose whether the triggering user should be impersonated or a specific user. But just to be clear, the agent must always impersonate a user. So even if we want it to be like a system user, we would create something like a contract admin in this example, and we would have to choose that. There's no such thing as running just a system or whatever, right?
We have two types of agents in ServiceNow. And I think that change is also went live in September. Worker agent or helper agent. In our case, for playbooks, we are using something called helper agent, where agent is not running behind the scenes, but agent is running as a user and helping the user, so that human in the loop is always supervising them. So that's the reason these particular agents in agentic playbooks will have to impersonate a user.
Okay, makes sense. And so as a developer, basically, I don't need to leave Playbook Designer in this case. Is that right? I can just orchestrate these agentic activities inside of the designer without having to leave it, put in the instructions as you said. Um, Now I'm wondering, can I somehow repurpose agents that were designed outside of Playbook Designer?
You're asking if developers can use their own AI agents here.
Yeah, or anything that they orchestrated in, I don't know, AI Agent Studio, or just outside of, I've built something already, and I just want to use the same thing in an activity. Can I do that?
No, I get it. So currently, by building this feature, we are we are helping developers to avoid the effort to create their own AI agents. And if there are generic tasks like searching and fetching records and processing, then we are able to do it with the generic agents that we built. But we understand that developers or even application views inside ServiceNow, they have need to add their own AI agents that they created for a specific purpose, and they might have used it and they might have tested it already. So that is something that we are working on as well. And I think once that feature is available, if they've built AI agents in AI Agent Studio, they'll just be able to add it here. Still, from developer authoring standpoint, I think it'll be very simple. They just select which AI agent. They can search for it here in Playbook authoring, select that agent or multiple agents, and then we'll add them to the other generic agents that we have built, and a user will be able to do whatever they're looking for.
That sounds really good. That sounds really exciting. And for now, it's more about writing a strong prompt, no messing with tools or different tools and capabilities. I just gotta be clear about what I want my agent to do in this case and put it in these instructions, right?
Exactly. As a process owner who is going to author this, they don't need to have expertise or capabilities in creating AI agents. If they know the process, then they can just put it in the instructions here. And if they're trying to fetch some particular fields from a particular table, they might have to mention it in natural language, something like this. And that's about it.
Great.
Awesome. So now we've looked at the authoring view, and we'll take the same example of contract renewal, and we'll see how this looks like in runtime experience. So for that, I'll go into a workspace, and here I'll create a new contract, and I've set up my playbook trigger for it to come up whenever this type of contract is created. So let me select put in some information that's required for the contract to work. I'll select the contract administrator, and I'll select this new contract to be set up for 5 years. And I'll also select the expected payment amount for this particular contract, and that's monthly. Let me save it. And once you save it, automatically playbook starts as it gets triggered. And here you can see that previously those fields are available, but now they are blocked. And you can also see that Now Assist is working behind the scenes for this particular activity. And which means that AI agents are running whenever that particular playbook activity starts. I can click on that view progress, and I can see what AI agents are doing here in this dynamic window on the right panel. And here you can see that there are multiple agents that are working. They went through the KB article, and as I speak, they are able to look at the information in the context record, which is the amount of duration for this contract and what is the total cost of the contract for the customer. And depending on the best practices that's mentioned in the knowledge article, agents are suggesting 17% because the discount range is 15 to 20%, and they're giving the midpoint of that discount. And as a user, I can go into the KB article and see it, but since I know the rules already and it's suggesting the midpoint, and it also gave the reason why it gave the 17%, I'm good with it, and I'll submit it and save. That triggers the next activity. Let me close this dynamic window, and that triggers the next activity, which is compose offer email. And again, as I mentioned, once I click on view progress, I'll be able to see what AI agents are doing.
This is pretty cool, isn't it? It's just doing the work for you.
It is. I'm just trying to comprehend what are we witnessing here. So it was looking up knowledge articles before to try and determine some of the details for the contract, and now puts all of that from the previous step into an email draft. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So it's following the instructions from, again, the activity that we have before, but here this particular agent or this particular activity has context of what's happening inside this process from the previous steps, as you mentioned, and it's able to suggest what the email should be and the content of that email. So yeah, so this is amazing. And the good thing is, if I am the human in the loop, all of this calculations that's required for the discount calculation, they would have already been done, and they're available for me whenever I just come and look at that record. If I'm good with it, I can complete it and go to the next activity. So I can be much more productive looking at a lot more records and completing them. And I can and that can free up more time for me, so that I can focus on working directly with the customer rather than spending time on calculating discounts and following the process. All right. So here, in this activity, once AI agents run, they also provide this history, just in case you want to see what AI agents did after they're done. You'll be able to look at this summary and understand what it's done. Because if you want to look at the conversation, it could be exhausting, because a lot of steps have happened, and agents might have looked at a lot of information. So this is a much simpler view of what agents did. And I would just send that email and go to the next activity. And this next activity is about recommending upsell products. And for me personally, this is the most exciting activity here, because these agents are configured to do web search and understand the pain points of this particular customer, and try to tie those to the products that are available inside ServiceNow, and then provide those recommendations to the customer. So for a human to do this, it would take hours, if not days, because they'll have to look at all the available products, and they have to look at the customer pain points, and then come up with a match and provide those to the customer. That's for the demo, and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Honestly, it's been fascinating to watch. You know what I was just thinking about looking at it, Sai, was, do you guys have any tips for developers to, I don't know, write great instructions to get the most out of their agentic activities? And we just talked about it's natural language, it's all that. Whatever you need, search knowledge articles, look up records. So um, someone designing these activities, what would be your recommendations to make sure it's going to do what I want it to do?
Yeah, again, as I said, we have some best practices in documentation, so they can refer to it. But to cover it here in this session, so at a high level, these agents do three things. One, they'll be able to do data gathering, they'll be able to do processing, and then they'll be able to do slot filling. So for data gathering, if you're trying to get data from multiple sources, just mention them one by one and say that I want to get this data, and I want to get it. I want to search and get it. If you want to do web search, just mention that. Say that, hey, I want to query the web and get data about this particular discount process that's followed in the industry, which is a best practice. And once you provide all the instructions for data gathering, agents will be able to get all the information, and then you specify the process that has to be followed for the data processing. For example, if you want to do any calculations on how you have to calculate the discount percentage, mention that. And then comes the slot filling part. And for that, mostly you don't need to mention anything, but if you want a particular calculated value to be populated in a field, specify it. But for the most part, if the form field says that it's discount and you are calculating discount, AI agents will be able to map it and they'll be able to fill it. I would say that's the process that we follow, and that worked when we were trying with various examples, and the instructions that we have here for this particular example do the same thing.
Do we have an easy way to test what the agents is going to come back with, or is it just part of testing the playbook itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have AI Agent Studio, where testing is absolutely possible. I would say you can take the instructions that you're having here, and you can try running our agentic workflow, which is there behind the scenes. That's Playbook Activity Assist. There, provide these instructions and the record that you're trying to work with, which is an incident or case, whatever is your trigger record in Playbook, and test it. There, or you will be able to see the reasoning, and you'll be able to see the results, and using all that information, you'll be able to fine tune your Playbook or your prompt.
So that means we can find the Playbook Activity Assist in AI Agent Studio and
Yes.
look at how it is configured. And that might maybe also help us to build our own AI agents in the future for this feature to
Oh, yeah,
use in Playbooks, which is great.
Yes,
Gives you
absolutely.
exactly.
some ideas and some background knowledge and good practices on the prompts. Speaking of prompts, one thing that I really liked about the email activity prompt is that it also gave some instructions to the AI agents to the tone and how to formulate, like how to make up the email. So not only did you ask it to create an email or draft an email, but you also make sure to make it factual and concise and very business-like ways. So for different use cases, you might want to choose different tone, or for example, if you want to summarize some content, you might want to give the AI agent instructions on which format do you want it to output for the summary. So do you want bullet points? Do you want 3 consecutive sentences? Do you want just the highlights or some details? Like all of these things can be part of your prompt.
You mentioned earlier, Side, that restrictions on the current activities available are going to be lifted in December. So if I use Agentic Playbooks today, is there anything else I need to do, or just upgrade my plugins as always?
You just have to upgrade your store app, and you should be good to go. And if you have already set up agentic playbooks or added AI agents for your activities, you don't really have to do anything. But to access more features, as you're saying, Laszlo, then you'd have to come to the setup that you've already done and add your features. For example, if you have to add an AI agent, add it. Even without it, if your prompt was working as expected, it should do the same thing. But to get better results, and if you want to add AI agents, you'll be able to do that. And also for December, again in a limited way, we are planning to ship another feature where process owners will be able to configure whether a particular activity should be completed automatically by AI agents as well. So in the demo that we have seen, it's mostly AI agents filling the form and showing to the user, and user has a choice to take whatever agent has given, or human in the loop can modify that data. But in case process owners see that agents are able to provide very good results 100% of the time, then they have a choice to even complete that activity automatically. So agents will be able to save that data to the record, and they will be able to complete that activity and go to the next activity. If that next activity is also configured in the same way, agents will be able to complete it. They'll go on until they get stuck, and then human in the loop can come in and provide their inputs. That's again coming in a controlled way for a specific set of activities in December, and we'll expand to other activities once we think it's safe.
Sounds good. So we can have these autonomous agents as part of playbooks as well, where you don't need human intervention. Or I can just have an agent check the previous agent's work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So once these two features are available post December, customers will be able to set up these processes in such a way that agents do all the heavy lift, and human in the loop can come in, and whenever agents get stuck, they can provide their inputs. Or if there are some sensitive activities where only humans should be working on, or humans should be taking the input from the agent and use their judgment, the process owner will have the choice. Absolutely.
Great. Finally, I want to tie back quickly to the slide Lisa showed us before, and I'm just curious, do you guys have any recommendations for when should we consider agentic activities or agentic playbooks over more deterministic playbooks? So I imagine there's going to be a lot of customers, users over time, getting access to Now Assist and these upgraded SKUs and whatever. So it requires a bit of a mind shift change, I would imagine. What would be any tips for developers out there to consider using agentic playbooks, if there's any?
Yeah. I think the most important part is that you start thinking about what kind of busy work you do when you're following a playbook. So it's probably a good idea to start with any playbooks that you already have implemented at your company, or use cases that you do want to implement going forward. It is always a good idea to think about activities that do anything that's like data collection, evaluation, calculations, and things that we saw today, like summarization or text generation. Things that you would also use, maybe generative AI, maybe your Copilot, maybe your Gemini, maybe your ChatGPT right now. things that you would do to gather that data and reduce the cognitive load on the agents and the process workers. Any of those steps were probably good choices. The important part, as always, with generative and AI to keep in mind is that it is non-deterministic. So if you are working on any processes that are like very heavily regulated, that require your auditability, that always require the same result under the same conditions, then you should definitely work with decision tables, deterministic flows or subflows or flow actions, things that always result in the same output every time. So that is really the most important distinction. If you are looking for a deterministic outcome, use your deterministic steps the way you've done that before. A lot of them can be fully automated. You don't have to do the human interaction. But for anything that requires like research and looking up data, doing AI search, getting info from the web, AI agents are absolutely there to help you. So I think that is a good distinction to really like think about your outcome and think about how much time you spent with the tedious work, which is where AI agents really shine.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just to add to what Lisa said, AI agents, in our experience, are good at looking at a lot of information and then coming to conclusions with the instructions that you are providing. So, if that is your use case, where the human in the loop will have to look at KB articles, look at 100 of the past cases, and then come to a conclusion, then you should probably start checking out agentic playbooks and AI agents and see if that's working. But if your use case is absolutely deterministic and it's a simple form filling by talking to the customers, then probably this is not the use case.
I agree. Good point. Do you guys have any last words or tips or messages for our audience before we wrap up this episode?
No, I have 2 more slides with some resources that people can go to. So if
Wonderful.
you were to reshare this, we have the Workflow Automation Center of Excellence, which is a body of articles that I maintain in the ServiceNow community. We plan to publish a Getting Started with Agentic Playbooks article in the coming weeks, so keep an eye on the Getting Started with Playbooks page to catch up. So we'll also post a summary of the guidance and best practice that we talked about today in a written form, so you can always go back and look that info up. This is available on the ServiceNow community. And then if you are interested in getting started with playbooks in general, our impact team has an offering. You can find this also on the ServiceNow documentation. This is where the link sends you to. Our impact teams will connect with you, provide you with an evaluation instance, and walk you through the first steps of starting to work with playbooks. One more thing that you'll find on the Center of Excellence that I mentioned earlier, there is excellent training on the ServiceNow University. If you want to learn how to get started building playbooks, there's an introduction to playbooks and an advanced course that also teaches you how to create your own custom activities, how to configure your playbook experiences, and add other features and all kinds of stuff. So make sure to check out our enablement that is available. And then, of course, any of the previous sessions for the Workflow Academy that you'll also find on the ServiceNow community channel on YouTube. And then lastly, one peek ahead to our schedule, the Jason Lefevre and I will do a Platform Foundations Academy or like a Workflow Academy in December, I believe December 11th, to give you a refreshed overview of how to get started with playbooks. We'll also touch on agentic playbooks, but also talk about any improvements that we did to the designer, how to trigger playbooks, and also playbook variants. So make sure to check in on that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lisa. And I can certainly attest Workflow Studio COE is one of the best resources out there. Sai, any last words from you?
No, we are excited to share all this information for the audience, and we are excited to see what our developers will be able to do by using AI agents behind their playbooks.
Me
Absolutely.
too.
Lisa, Sai, thanks so much for coming on this episode. That's all we have for this episode of Creator Toolbox, folks. We've got more episodes coming or already out, so be sure to check out our channel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good day.
Bye bye.